How about now? No? Double try? Oh, okay. There we go. And gone again. And back again. And back. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. So I believe I had just read through the first quote. Did you hear that? The one about from Polonius, Shakespeare? Did we make it that far? Before the stream died? Just after our call. Okay. Well, we'll pick it up. Yeah, we'll go with the quote. So to this above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou cannot be false to any man. This is from Polonius, Shakespeare. All right. But do not mistake telling the truth for keeping it real. No, do not pick up the alcohol. Yeah, exactly. The truth is not a weapon you have free rein to hurt people with. It's not an excuse to be mean to someone you dislike or to harm someone who has wronged you. The truth is there to push people to grow and to understand the realities of life. And if you can't tell the truth, don't lie. It erodes at you. It tears you down and affects your perception of reality. We all know those people who over-exaggerate. Think about one of those people in your life and ask yourself how much you believe in them. You'll notice that you never fully trust their word. It's extremely hard to take them at face value, because even with little white lies or exaggerations, the bond that exists between people is fragile. This bond exists within you as well. When you lie to get out of an uncomfortable situation, even to save face with somebody, it eats at you. Oh, yes. Okay, so that's my end about talking about the truth. Let me bring up the comic for that one. This is going to be slow, so bear with me. Image. Yes. Browse. Okay, it should be on the desktop. Comics. Okay, this one should be called like Truth or something. Let me see if I can find it. Dear Truth, where are you? Fuck a duck. Hold on. A smarter man would have been better prepared and would have done some amount of preparation. See, the problem is this doesn't feel like all of them. Well, damn, I'm telling you, it's the comics are half the battle. What does this one look like? Oh, it looks like that. Again, that's the problem with having the book in front of you. Why is it not in this list? What a shame. It didn't export. Alright, bear with me. Technical difficulties. Will draws live performance. It would be a sad live performance. Alright, here we go. We will do this the cheaty way. Plus. Window. Yes, capture window. Boom! You should see Photoshop. There we go. So here's your comic to go with that section. Very good. Alright, has everyone seen the comic now? Alright, so that was your comic for telling the truth. Being comfortable with who you are, this is your next tip. This topic is a challenge that can take people their entire lives to work on. Being comfortable in your own skin seems to come very easily for some. They walk with confidence and speak without hesitation. What I can tell you is, for some people, that is an act. At least for me, it was. When I was 21, I would often go out to bars with my friends, and I thought I need to be entertaining and engaging to have a good time. I learned every bar trick, every coin puzzle, and joke that I could get my hands on. I used these things like tile pieces in a game to bridge dying conversations, to meet new people, to fill the silence that comes between still faces. I wasn't comfortable with myself during those quiet moments, so I mustered a new but disingenuous way to act. It had the intended outcome, and I became the social oil that kept the table having fun, laughing and drinking. Or at least I thought so, but it wore on me like sand in the gears of a machine wound tight. I would burn my candle on both ends, trying to be someone I really wasn't. I was lying to myself and insisting I had to be the one to entertain people. And here's your quote. Because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others. Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. Because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. That's from Lao Tzu. When you attempt to be something you are not, it takes away from the things that make you, you. It's really a continuation of the previous section. A part of being comfortable with yourself is accepting that you are a certain way, telling the truth to yourself. Maybe you are a little shy, and meeting new people is a struggle. Don't lie and say, I don't mind meeting new people, and public speaking is awesome. Try to enjoy the feeling, to embrace the shyness, and let it pass over you. Even meeting someone and telling them, hi, I'm a little shy, but I'm excited to meet your acquaintance. It goes a long way, at least, in helping you feel more comfortable. In the end, you are the only person in this world that needs to understand you. You don't have to be anything you don't want to be or are not comfortable with. If you find yourself struggling with this, try to write down your strengths. You have a lot, and if you have trouble, just ask your friends or your family. Also, write down any perceived weaknesses you have. Ruminate on those two lists, and you'll find that the weaknesses don't really matter or are very minor, and your strengths are what really draw people to you. So embrace them. All right, let me find the comic for this one. All right, so let's see. This is... Oh, this one's cute. What section was this? Yeah, being comfortable with who you are. All right, we'll open up this one in Photoshop. Boom. Should be a new comic. Nice try, person trying to murder me. Not only do you get book ASMR, you get me sipping tea ASMR. Although that might not be caught because of the compressor. Or the threshold I have set up. All right. Has everyone had a nice read? Learn how to learn. This one's a really important one that I highly believe in. Education and learning are the building blocks of understanding life. A lot of your education will come from the standardized paint-by-number teaching provided by underpaid and undervalued teachers from the public education system. The beginning of your life and your experience of this education will be well marred by its slow pace and uninterested teachers. But it's imperative that you don't let that get you down. There's a whole sea of content, of knowledge, and topics out there for you to be interested in. The main component of learning how to learn is to understand that your brain only cares about the stuff it finds interesting, or has determined it's needed for survival. If you are unable to convince yourself that some piece of information is absolutely riveting, and you can't stop learning about it, try to frame it in a way that this new tidbit is going to help you in life, or in a life or death situation. Maybe think about how this could help you in your current job, and if you don't know this information, at just the right time, it could lead to a huge raise. If you had known it. Or when learning about human anatomy, how it could save your father's life when he complains of pains that you know are appendicitis. Either way, the important part is to make your brain think that this information is vital. This tip will help store it in your long-term memory. Learn to enjoy the process of mastering a subject, or at the very least, becoming not bad at it. The flow is always the same when you're picking up a new skill. You know nothing. You are bad at the thing. You start watching videos on YouTube or reading books about the topic. You know the surface level about the stuff and try out your new skills. You fail, and you get sad or frustrated. Recognize this feeling and really feel it. Don't try to override it. Say to yourself, this is failing, and feeling it is a part of learning. It's like this every time you try something new. Take solace in the fact that this is part of the process, and you are that much closer to being done for obtaining understanding and mastery. After that failure, you get back on the horse and it starts to feel better. You spend a few more hours working towards it. In the end, you can become fairly competent. You probably have already heard, but you can be adept at almost anything after about 20 hours of practice. Enough to impress most people who don't know much about the subject anyways. This could include piano, public speaking, skiing, or any other skill or knowledge base. And here's your quote. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. That's from Benjamin Franklin. The Frankitude. This quote also embodies the thing I do for myself when learning a subject or new material. I struggled through college learning how to program and got into tech. I just couldn't find it interesting and was doing it for all the wrong reasons. However, when I started getting into game development and had personal projects to wind my lessons into, the knowledge just seemed to flow into me. I find that having something applicable to relate your skills really helps to cement the important parts of it into your brain. Incorporating what you learn through school or work into a project you enjoy, and you'll take yourself that much farther. Slurp. All right, let's see if I can find the comic for this one. What does this one look like? Okay. Which one is this one? Dear thing, where are you? There we go. This is me like all the time. I stay up super late on accident, watching science videos or documentaries. You have the ability to accumulate a disgusting amount of useless information that way. What class did you convince yourself would be the end of your life? Ah, rooibos tea. All of them? Any one of them. Yep. All right, we'll go to the next section. This one's super important, and I think it will help a lot of people. Stop accumulating possessions. As you look around, you might notice that people seem to care quite a bit about material items. They always talk about buying the newest gadget or purchasing the most expensive car they can afford. These item purchases bring momentary flickers of serotonin to your brain. They feel good. There is something to be said about how nice it is to open something you just got from the store. There's this intoxicating tactile sensation of peeling through a fresh box, untouched and all yours to consume and do with as you please. But I want to really counsel everyone away from this practice. It lends itself to bad habits. It's physically burdensome in the long run and skewers with your emotional reward system. A lot of people end up buying things because it makes them feel better. They do it when they're low or stressed out or having a hard time in general. Granted, there are far worse ways to get a good feeling and add energy back in your body, but nonstop prime nowing isn't probably a great answer. If you find yourself doing this on a regular basis, you might have developed an unhealthy coping mechanism. I know you might be thinking, well, I have the money. Why not make myself feel better and get all the things I've ever wanted? Owning a hoard of possession comes at a cost. Possessions, even. You must put it all somewhere. I know it sounds a little drab, but there is an emotional toll to seeing a room cluttered with objects. It creates a sense of chaos. It makes it harder to think, to be creative, to get any kind of motivation going when your entire room is littered with things. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't own objects. What I'm saying is that anything you buy needs to have a place to live within your home, not occupying any random open surface it can find. Suppose you do have all the room in the world, what will you do when it comes time to move? Unless you can afford professional packers and moving services, your mountain of earthly possessions will cause enormous physical and mental fatigue. Moving is one of the top stressors in life. Adding a multiplier like this just compounds the problem. Do yourself a favor, your future self a favor. Try to keep your possessions to a minimum. And here's your quote. You only truly possess that which you cannot lose in a shipwreck. By Abu Hamid al-Ghazali. Hiring movers is always worth the money. There have been a few times in my life where I've had to stuff all my earthly possessions into a hatchback car and drive across the state. Being forced to pare down all of that at one time can be an emotional process. Granted, a little prior planning might have gone a long way, but live and learn. For my life, I'm constantly on the lookout for objects of mine that I can part with. I try to consistently declutter my house and my life. It's amazing the useless items we hold on to, ones without even sentimental value. They linger on shelves and haunt your closet as dead space. If you find a box that you've not opened since you moved into your current residence, go ahead and open that sucker up and maybe throw out half of it. All of it if you can manage, but start slow. You'll be amazed at how liberating it is that you no longer must deal with these apparently unneeded items. Feel free to sell any you can on Craigslist or eBay, but don't wait too long to get rid of what you can, otherwise it might sneak back into your closet. All right, let's see. Yeah. This comic I enjoy. Possessions. I think we all have been or know someone who's like this. Making anything survive airport staff is tough. The last several times I've moved, 90% of what I brought was my computer. Yep. Yeah, I take photos. All right, the next one's on financial stability. This is a quick book, by the way. One of the most important parts of making your life easier is having the supplies to live and last out bad situations. Back in the olden days, this would include stockpiles of dry food and water to keep yourself alive during a rough winter. These days, the only real thing you should try to stockpile is money, and it is the ration of the modern age. Now, I'm not saying you should be living to collect money and hoard it like some kind of dragon, sitting atop a pile of 50s and yelling at kids to get off your lawn. No, that's not it. What you should have is a reasonable WhatsApp alert message. Hold on. What you should have is a reasonable safety net in case something goes wrong, because eventually something will. Your goal is to stash away 3 months of rent, utilities, gas, phone bill, and car payments, and food, and whatever else is important to your life. Calculate what that number is, and always strive to have that much cash floating in your bank account. This money is your emergency fund. If you suddenly get fired from work, you have time to get back on your feet. Hate your new boss, you can leave if it's unbearable, and find employment elsewhere. It gives you much more power and allows you to have agency and choice, and will provide a feeling of comfort when things are looking bleak. Here's your quote for the day. You must gain control of your money, or the lack of it will forever control you. This one's by Dave Ramsey. He says weird things sometimes, but I liked this one. Depending on where you are in your career, that 3-month sum of money might look like Mount Everest. I know it can be tough, but really try to live lean and save every penny you can until you get there. It's very much worth it. If you can work up 3 months of expenses without too much trouble and you don't mind living lean, start investing your spare money. Don't let it all pile up in a low-yield bank account, making only 0.001% interest. 0.001. The S&P 500 historically makes 10% year over year on average. Your goal is at least to minimum beat inflation, which hovers around 2 to 3%. Stay safe. Do your research. Don't try to get rich quickly through those crafty investing methods. Buy all the Bitcoin, yeah. All right, let's get a... What would I have called this comic? Dear comic, what would you have been called? Finance, maybe? Yes. How do I stash away the internet? My comics are pretty stupid, but I laugh at them, so. When you make a book, you can put whatever you want in it. All right. Let's talk about putting on your armor. Whenever you must do something difficult, like standing up for yourself, going in for a job interview, or working on a project that is due in a few days, you need to put on your armor. Back in the olden days, your armor might have been a suit of chainmail with leather underneath. However, the modern day armor has changed. If I know I must do something that will take a lot of energy, I'll wear my best clothes to display on the outside the resolution that I have on the inside. I'll put my hair up so that I can feel more confident in myself and my abilities. I will stretch and loosen up my body to prepare it in my mind for the task to come. I know this might sound silly, but the true goal of this seemingly irrelevant task is to put your mind in the right state, to be prepared to do battle. If you have troubles getting started on personal projects or completing your to-dos for the day, getting into this mindset will provide immediate benefit. Not only does the clothing you wear affect your confidence about yourself, you will also see people start to treat you differently. Dressing for success gives a certain air about you that others will feel as well. They will give you more respect, allowing you more latitude in decision making, and will make way for you within reason. Your clothes, your armor, display to the world your purpose. And here's your quote. Fashion is a tool to compete in life outside the home. People like you better without knowing why, because people always react well to a person that they like the look of. And that's by Mary Quant, or Quanat. There are a few ways to think about what your armor might be. You don't have to buy the most expensive suits or the best dresses to fulfill this idea. You might also think doing your nails or applying perfume as a key component to armoring up. The most critical piece is that your clothes or accessories make you feel more confident. Brands and expensive jewelry mean nothing if you do not feel stronger when wearing them. Only when you feel empowered by your armor and protected by it will make an impact on your external environment. Like most things in life, the experience is shaped by you. All right, let's see this silly comic. Boop. Oh, hold on. Why are you this one? Is this the wrong one? Dear Armor, this is not the right comic. Why are you named so? All right, hold on. Is this it? That's so weird. I must have saved over the old one. How strange. All right, I'll pull it up on the as the PNG. Boop. Oh god, it's huge. Let's see if I can exactly fill it in. Chapter 10, make backups. This, I downloaded this from the backups too, which is the scary part. All right, so we're gonna, this is the wrap up for, you know, the first pillar, which is making your life easier. Like I said, life is difficult sometimes. The real goal is to have the important stuff in a stable equilibrium so that when something does come around to rock the boat, you can handle it. A huge part of that is being honest with yourself so you can adapt and change where needed, and being honest with others in a constructive way. They will look for you for your insight. People who speak from the heart will always be sought after. Learning how to be comfortable with the things you can't change or the things that are uniquely you will provide a strong foundation for the rest of your life. People will respect you more when you're comfortable in your own skin. It gives off an aura of well-being. Become a lifelong student and learn how to learn. The saying, knowledge is power, is especially true when it comes to the job market. You never know what side skill you developed will come in handy in the future. And at the very least, you'll always have something to talk about if you keep picking up new skills. Avoid collecting unneeded possessions because your things will own you. They accumulate and crowd your space. Try to avoid unnecessary purchases, but don't be afraid to gift yourself something every now and then. Life is meant to be lived. Just don't let your things take away a large chunk of it. Make sure you save up 3 months of emergency money as soon as you can. Try to develop good spending habits and think about your future. Unless you plan to work for someone else the rest of your life, begin saving up for retirement and putting that money aside as soon as possible. Compound interest and growth is what you're looking for. And whenever you do something big, make sure you put your armor on. Get geared up. Dress to the nines. You know what makes you feel like $1,000,000. This will empower you and give you the confidence to crush whatever task is set before you. These are the most helpful, best bang for your buck tips that I've got. They'll make your life easier. And the next section is about growth. So you're telling me not to buy your book. That's right. If you've already gotten all you need out of it, don't buy the book. But you could buy it for somebody else. Just saying. It's bedtime. It's okay. I finished the first quarter of the book. We could stop there for today. You're on UTC +3. Gross. 6 a.m. Grosser. All right. Well, good night, Ruffy. Boop.